You already know war is hell, and besides those killed in action, there's way too many lingering mysteries, especially with all those POWs or MIAs. Then there's the strange case of Private Andrew Ladner. Ladner stands out from his peers because he didn't go missing and then die. He died and then went missing. You see, he died during the Battle of Bunagona in New Guinea on November 30th, 1942, and was buried north of New Guinea's village of Saputa. Then, folks couldn't locate his grave. It took until 2016 for a set of remains at the Manila American Cemetery and Memorial to be identified as Ladner's. That's Manila, as in the Philippines, 2,000 miles from where he was initially buried. The remains landed in New Orleans on April 1st, 2022, and were buried at his family plot at Wolf River Cemetery in Mississippi with full military honors. So this is a bit of a double mystery. Who, if anyone, got buried in New Guinea? And if Ladner was there in the first place, how did Ladner's remains get dug up, shipped all the way to the Philippines, and be interred there with no record of getting there in the first place? One mystery solved, another one begins. 2016 is pretty recent to figure out a World War II mystery, but that's not even the latest one. That would be the discovery of the HMS Trooper, a British submarine due to arrive at Beirut, Lebanon on October 17, 1943. The Trooper didn't show up as scheduled. While no big, historically notable battles were happening at the time, Britain did set out to reclaim the WWII Islands from the Axis powers in September of that year, 1 month before the Trooper vanished. The WWII Islands are located in the Aegean Sea east of mainland Greece, a point integral to the Trooper's fate. On October 17, 2024, 81 years to the day after the Trooper was supposed to arrive at its destination, a Greek diver discovered the Trooper by sonar near the island of Donusa in the WWIIs. He used remote-controlled vehicles to investigate further and found the sub resting 830 feet below the surface. As you can guess, it looks like the Trooper suffered a violent fate. The vessel was shattered into 3 pieces, implying that it struck one of the 287 mines that Germany laid in the region during World War II. All 64 men on board died. You know what a B-17 is, and thanks to the band, you know what a B-52 is, but there were a bunch of Bs. B-24, B-25, B-26, etc. You get it. The B, of course, stands for bomber. One of those B-24Ds comes equipped with a tale of heroism unknown until its recovery, the Lady Be Good. In case you're wondering, the D stands for modified. It's not pertinent to the story, but now you know. The Lady Be Good took off on April 4th, 1943 for Suluk from an airstrip near Benghazi, Libya. It was part of a squadron en route to Naples, Italy, and the Lady Be Good was one of the last to leave. It headed along the same fateful path as the other B-24Ds over the Libyan desert, which is part of the vast Sahara Desert. They had problems from the beginning and never even made it to Naples, and ended up returning to their base after getting practically all the way to Italy. That meant they were flying back over the Mediterranean in the dark. How dark?
Too dark. I don't make the rules, that's history.
The Lady Be Good overshot the Suluk airstrip by a lot, ran out of fuel, and crash landed in the desert. And by the looks of things, it was more of a landed than a crashed. It appeared that everyone either survived the impact or bailed out by a parachute. Several set out across the sands. 5 made it 78 miles on foot, and 1 109 miles. The problem is that 109 miles from the middle of a desert is still the middle of a desert. None of the soldiers were rescued alive. This story took form over 15 years after the crash in 1958, when the wreck of Lady Be Good was spotted 400 miles south of Suluk. Ultimately, the automatic direction finder failed on the plane, and that doomed the crew. In 2018, Antiques Roadshow turned full unsolved mysteries by roping its viewership into unraveling the story behind a briefcase of possessions. Judging by a telegram dated November 9, 1941, the briefcase belonged to World War II prisoner of war Hubert Henderson, a pilot with the British Royal Air Force. The briefcase's caretaker, Suzanne, appeared on the show representing her uncle, an antiques dealer who'd acquired the briefcase 10 years prior at auction for £25. The briefcase was essentially a collection of mementos related to the deceased Henderson, and Suzanne wanted to track down whomever it rightfully belonged to. Antiques Roadshow teamed up with historian Tony Hoskins and revealed their findings in 2019. They discovered that a picture in the briefcase wasn't of Henderson, but of his friend Alistair Sandy Gunn. Then, things took a turn for the heartwarming.
You're the nephew of the owner of this suitcase, John Henderson.
I am.
Eventually, the team found Henderson's nephew, John, who was happy to receive the briefcase and had apparently known about his uncle's and Sandy's friendship. He even named his son Alistair after Gunn. This one's not technically not completely solved, but closer to a resolution. Specifically, we're talking about the disappearance of musician-turned-serviceman Glenn Miller of Glenn Miller's orchestra fame. As misfortune would have it, Miller disappeared en route from Bedfordshire, England to Versailles, France to play for US troops stationed there. Neither he, his aircraft, his crew, or any other trace has ever been found, suggesting his flight crashed in the English Channel. Some theories propose that his plane was accidentally bombed by the British Royal Air Force, but evidence suggests that that wasn't the case, which brings Miller's case one step closer to solving. Miller's family recruited historian Dennis Sprague to investigate his death. Sprague's findings at the end of a 6-year-long investigation include a diary from 17-year-old Richard Anderton in Reading, England. Dating to 1944, the diary included an entry in which Miller's plane was said to have been seen pass overhead. If the aircraft was in this area, then it couldn't have been bombed by the RAF, which supports the US Army's previous investigation into Miller's disappearance. Sprague believes that the carburetor in Miller's plane froze mid-flight and the plane vanished beneath the waves of the English Channel.